Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Pranav, and in this video we'll be discussing about the topic typical CNN, that is convolutional neural networks. So coming to the introduction part, CNNs are a type of deep neural network designed for processing structured grid data such as images, and these are widely used, as we know, for tasks like image recognition, object detection, and then image segmentation. So the architecture of CNN typically consists of convolutional layers and then pooling layers and then fully connected layers. So the CNN layers are the building blocks of CNN and are responsible for extracting features from input data. So each CNN or the convolutional layer applies a set of filters to the input data to detect patterns and features. And the output of convolutional layer is called a feature map, which represents the presence of different features in the input data. We have convolutional layers. So we have input layers. That is, this is the layer which gives in which we give input to our model, and then the number of neurons in this layer is equals to the number of features in our data. So that is basically the number of pixels in the case of an image. And then we have hidden layers in which the input from the input layer is fed into the hidden layer. This can be there can be many hidden layers depending on our model and the data size. So each hidden layer can have different number of neurons, which are generally greater than the number of features. And then the output from each layer is computed by a matrix multiplication of the output of the previous layer with learnable weights of that layer, and then by addition of learnable biases followed by activation function, which makes the network nonlinear. And then we have finally output layer, wherein the output from the hidden layer is then fed into a logistic function like sigmoid or softmax, which converts the output of each class into the probability score of each class. So coming into the basic architecture, so convolutional layer applies filters to the input image to extract features, and then the pulling layer down the samples, pulling layer down the samples of the image to reduce computation, and then the fully connected layer makes the final prediction. So here the network learns the optimal filters, and then through backpropagation and gradient descent we are having the weight setup. So pooling layers are basically used to downsample the feature maps generated by the convolutional layers, as we just saw in the previous step. So that is done through backpropagation or gradient descent. And also common pooling operations include max pooling and then average pooling, which reduce the spatial dimensions of the feature maps. So basically pooling helps to make the network more robust to variations in the input data, and then reduces the computational complexity of the network. So how do convolutional layers work? So basically, CNNs or cognets are neutral networks, or are neural networks that share their parameters. So imagine you have an image which it can be represented as a cuboid having its length, width, and height. So and then now imagine taking a small patch of this image and running it on a small neural network, so called a filter or a kernel on it. So with say k outputs and then representing them vertically. So that is what we see in the diagram on the right hand side. We have input data that is represented vertically, that has something called length, width, and height. So for this we have what we know, we slide the neural network across the whole image. As a result, we will get another image with just different widths and heights and depth. So instead of just R, G, and B channels, as we just saw in the previous example, that is red, green, and blue channels, we have more channels but lesser width and height. So this operation is called convolution. So if the path size is the same as of the image, it will be a regular neural network because of the small patch. So and then we have fewer weights. Um, so then we see layers to build cognets. As we know, complete convolutional neural network architecture is also known as a cognet. So a cognet is a sequence of layers, and every layer transforms one volume to another through a differentiable function. And then we have types of layers. So let us take an example by running cognets on image of dimension 32 x 32 x 3. So here we have input layers, that is, it's the layer which we have input to our model. So in CNN, generally the input will be an image or sequence of images. So this layer holds the raw input of the image with its width 32 and then height 32, and then we know the depth as 3. So in CNN, the layer, I mean, this is the layer which is used to extract the features from the input dataset, and then it applies the set of learnable filters known as the kernels to the input images. So filters or kernels are small matrices, usually 2 cross 2, 3 cross 3, or 5 cross 5, 5 cross 5 in shape, and then it slides over the input image data and then computes the dot product between the kernel weight and the corresponding image patch. So the output of this particular layer is what we refer to as the feature map. And then suppose we use a total of 12 filters for this layer, we might get an output volume of dimension 32, 32 x 12. So we have, next we come to the activation layer. After the input layer and then the convolutional layers, we have an activation layer wherein by adding an activation function to the output of the preceding layer, the activation layers add non-linearity to the network. That is, it doesn't become a simple neural network, it keeps it as a convolutional neural network. So it will apply an element wise activation function to the output of the convolutional layer, and then some common activation functions are ReLU, that is maximum of 0 comma x of that particular point, or we have leaky ReLU or sigmoid, etc. And then we have finally we have pooling layer, which is this is a layer that is periodically inserted in the cognate, and its main function is basically to reduce the size of the volume, which makes the computation fast and then reduces the memory and also prevents overfitting. So two common types of pooling layers are max pooling and average pooling. So if you use max pooling with 2 cross 2 filters and straight 2, the resultant volume will be of dimension 16 x 16 x 12. So let us come to the applications of CNNs. So CNNs have numerous applications beyond image recognition, that is including object detection, facial recognition, and medical image analysis. They have also been used in autonomous vehicles and then surveillance systems, and we know natural language processing tasks as well. CNNs continue to drive advancements in AI and then are a key technology in the deep learning landscape. Natural language processing, that is NLP, while primarily is used on data, but CNNs can also be applied to text data analysis as well. So that is the new approach. And then we have generative applications wherein CNN can be used to generate new images or modify the existing ones. This includes tasks like image in painting, filling in the missing parts of an image, or we have style transfer wherein it refers to transferring the artistic style of one image to another. Advantages as well, wherein good at detecting patterns and then features in images, uh, videos, and audio signals. It is also robust to translation, rotation, and scaling invariance. And then it has an end-to-end training, so there's no need for manual feature extraction as such. And then it can handle large amounts of data and achieve high accuracy as well, based on the way it's trained. So coming to the disadvantages part, so computationally it is pretty expensive to train and require a lot of memory. So we might need good chunky systems to run the software, and then it can be prone to overfitting if not enough data or proper regularization is used, and then it requires large amounts of label data. So if the data is not proper or fed properly, and then we might face issues such as overfitting as well. And then interpretability is limited, so it's hard to understand what the network has actually learned. So thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys liked it. So please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel.